Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to have a look at doing this particular image with Stunning Me as the example here. This one is really easy, so it won't take you very long at all, but what I'd like you then to do is to think about taking a frame, and that's just a fairly boring picture frame. You can get many other more elaborate frames than that to do, and maybe taking a frame like that of somebody holding it, but also thinking about the background and where they are at, because that one's fairly basic, fairly plain, but easy to do as a starter, just a normal shadow background. But you might want to think then of doing multiple people holding different frames and all that sort of thing. You might even have some sort of action happening behind, like say for example I was thinking of a lifesaver standing on the beach and holding a frame, and then there's the surfer running past behind them or something like that. You need to sort of think about how creative you can be. But in the meantime, I'm just going to show you the very, very simple steps, what I call frame it. So let's have a look. So that's the image. So I will just close that for now, so we don't need to look at that. Now we're just going to go File, Scripts, Load File into Stack. That's the one you know from doing the previous video. It just what it simply does is it just puts the layers all into one. The files all into one. To several layers on your palette. So that's how easy it is. So we go Load Files into Stack, Browse. But we're only going to be doing 2 today, so and I'll talk to you about how to take those in a second. So I'm just pressing that one and holding my control button to press 2 and going OK. So now I've got the 2. Obviously if you've got more images than that, you're going to have more than 2. But this, remember, we start simple, we get more complex as we go along. Then we go OK. Abracadabra. Now we did attempt, I think the student did attempt to put this on a tripod, a tripod being a art stool, but as you can see that there's a bit of red there, but that we're not going to worry about that because we're going to get rid of that later. So I've got 2 images here. And this is important. The first, so number 1, important to get a tripod. We will fix it because this one slightly moves, but it is much easier if you do it on a tripod. Do it on a tripod. The first thing you have to do is obviously get a tripod, then set your exposure, take the photo without the person in it, and get the put it on manual exposure, and so that it doesn't change the setting depending on who's in it and the reflective light that comes off them. So make sure you put on manual exposure, get the exposure right, take the photo. Then you take the photo of the person sitting in there with a frame. So we just found some old art frame that we used for that. So it's pretty simple. I'm just going to go to my Move tool, which is up there. I just clicked on that. I'm going to here. There's several ways that you can do it. I'll just show you using a layer mask again because that's something that we've been doing. So if you go to, you don't really need, but if you're doing several layers, then yeah, you can use a layer mask. So the third one along, click that one, make sure that's on there. This time we're going to make sure it's on black because we're going to be masking out whatever's in this frame here. I'm then going to go up to my lasso tool and I'm going to click on the second one, Polygonal Lasso tool. The reason why I'm using that tool is because it uses straight lines and we've got a frame, so that's what we're going to be using. I'm going to go Control Plus to blow the picture up, holding my space bar down to get it in the frame, and then I'm going to find and carefully click on the edge, and you can see how it draws a beautiful straight line for me. And then I'm going to draw and then I'm going to click when I get to that edge there. Awesome. And then I'm going to do the same, whoop, all the way around. So I'm finding that beautiful corner and I'm clicking in that corner. Hold my space bar down so I can see it again, and then I'm going back to here. Now I did maybe a little bit out there, but that's okay for now. We're not going to worry too much about that. So in order to black this out, we need to fill it with black. So you go to your fill tool here. If you can't find your paint bucket tool, your fill tool, it's under the gradient tool. So it just depends on which one you have there. So that's it here. So I'm clicking on that and it's on black, and as soon as I go over here you can see how it the icon of the paint bucket comes over here, and then I'm going to go click, and what it did is it filled in that area black, and you can see over where I'm clicking on that layer mask thumbnail, you can see that over there. It's a black mask that is masking that out. Now that's all you have to do, because that now shows the image. So I'm going to go Control minus. Told you it was easy. And there you have it. So it's like a see-through frame, and there's heaps of variations on the net that you can see, and this is just a really average example of that, a very simple example, but you can go to the extremes with this. Say for example, you might be holding a tire or something else, something different than just a frame, and that can then add to that. So we're going to just manipulate this a little bit further, because I don't really like the background. We're just sitting up in the back there of our schoolyard. From now, what we're going to do is just do a little bit of editing. We're going to crop it. So if it's around that ratio, I'm just going to put the arrows and flick it around that way. So see how the arrows I'm flicking up on the top bar, they change that ratio aspect. I want it horizontal, obviously. So then I'm just going to, it's going to hold that aspect, and I'm just going to go down and make this smaller, so I'm dragging it in. I'm then going to move this picture to suit that image frame. There we go. And I'm just looking at my rule of thirds there as well. So that looks pretty good in terms of that, and I'll just double click when I'm happy with that. So now I have that image there. Control plus to make it a bit bigger. We can then tweak the levels, so you can either duplicate the layer and tweak the levels, or if you're confident enough you can just tweak them now. So you go Control L for levels, and I'm just making that a little bit more normal. And there you have it. One image that has frames. So experiment, get out there, use different frames, different framing things. You can use windows, you can use all sorts of things. Use a tripod, set on manual exposure, autofocus. Same three principles again, and have some fun. Speak to you next time.